We taught her to be a little bit more independent when she was younger. She'd get off the bus, she'd get in the house, she'd lock the door, and there'd be something, a snack for her, and she'd make herself comfortable. But that went on for a long time, because that's all she did until I found out all these other resources for Jatana. You need to ask first, and you need to go out and look for resources, and that's how I learned. I asked around, I asked at the Luther Center, I asked Family Support and Services. Jatana used to go through the Wiseman Center, even when she was at Children's Hospital. They were a great support for Jatana, so all those people helped me to get where Jatana is today, as far as getting services outside of the home and helping her be more independent.
I was having some issues with the agency that I had been working through, and I was having problems after problems, and rather than looking for maybe giving me more time with my workers, they were trying to take everything away from me. When Iris came into my life, everything changed for the better. I kind of felt like I got a little bit more of that independence back that I thought that I would never see again. I realized that I was going to have to get caregivers that would be able to help me. You interview them just like any other job. I love that because I can tell them exactly what they're going to be doing here. And I do know that I'm finding somebody that actually cares about coming here and taking care of me. My caregivers, I look at them as they're my hands and my feet. The great part with Iris that really fit in well with me, because I am very self-directive. That's one thing that I thank God for every day, that I still have this brain and this good head on my shoulders, because I can direct every single one of my cares exactly the way that I want them and need them. And that's how Iris works. It is a hard struggle, and it's a conscious effort every single day of your life. And I do know this, that nothing is going to change my situation. So I can either live my life in a wheelchair and be happy and do good things out there, or I can be in this wheelchair and just be angry. People need to just step back and just look at their situation and just really accept it. I think that's number one, is accepting it and really realizing that it isn't going to change. That part isn't going to change. But everything else you have control of. We all do. Able-bodied or disabled. We all do.
Right when I was talking about coming home and I made my plans to move forward, I was talking to a professor of mine out in Cambridge, and he's like, well, you're a good student. You obviously work hard, but you won't be able to write on that level, and you won't be able to do well on that level. I think it's commendable that you're trying to go back to college. And I don't know, I walked away that day with the impression of, you can't do this. It's nutty. Stay where you are. Stay here. You have a support system. You can get an apartment. You can work. Post-secondary education was not seen as, oh, go do that. You can do it. I got the more the line of, you can't really do this. We spend 9 to 10 hours a week on independent living skills. A lot less than what I had out of Massachusetts. And the rest of it is made up by the classes you're actually taking. And one of the supports is that you have homework help. It's just an evening with Courtney's grad students and Deidre herself, and they help you with whatever you need help on, whatever homework you have, or what you're working on in your classes. And I find that really invaluable.
Hi, Claire.
With my friends, I've laid down the law of who makes the decisions for me, and sometimes they like to guide me to what they think is the best decision for me, and sometimes I'm grateful for that, but at other times it's like, no, you don't decide for me. I decide my own limits. I decide how far I go. I decide where that line is.
I never look at myself as being disabled. I look at society being disabled. You know, I mean, I feel like they need to be the ones that should be able to accommodate us in every aspect. I understand there's buildings out there that are 100 years old and they're not going to be able to be accommodated because, you know, of the infrastructure, but there are these new businesses that could make it a lot easier. I mean, you can go into a lot of these buildings, they'll have like a 3-inch threshold that's supposed to get in there. And somebody like me, I can't get in there. And all they'd have to do is put like a little slab of 2x4 right there to make you be able to get in. And they can do that. I've talked to quite a few people about that, and talked to a few, most of them are spinal cord injuries. And I've told them that it's a great idea because it not only, you'll not only enforce the idea of you being able to provide the caregiver with what they need to know, but you also get to direct them in what they need to do. Only you are going to know what's wrong with you at the time. This way you got total control of all your cares, of everything that's going on. And I couldn't imagine not having that at this time. It gives you such a feeling of independence that's unreal. And that's just so important to me.
I know how when to ask, for the help.
Each client, is different based on what their lifestyle is like and what level of support they need. And, we really have to gear that to each client based on, what they're expressing they need versus, what we see that they need, and balancing out, making sure that they're getting what they're asking for and what they feel is important to them. The quote-unquote old system, it was whatever service happened to be available, that's where you went. Versus the self-directed services, you're given a pool of, these are the providers that are available, these are their philosophies, and this is what they have to offer you. You have these options of, what you think is going to best help you get to where you want to be.
There was a woman named Martha Sengpile, and I loved her, and she was my first caseworker. She treated me with respect. She'd say, hey, check this out. I have these services here that you didn't know about. Maybe this could help you to get something adapted in your house or whatever. She didn't make me come to her groveling. She always treated me with such dignity and respect. I've had another person through the same program that was very much a bureaucrat that, and even stated it to me and was proud of it and thought that was amusing. And so what I want to say is, first of all, I think the caseworkers need to be educated about sensitivity, compassion, believing in people, moving beyond these fixed categories, and not to construct people as clients. They're human beings first. This idea of inclusion, I find absolutely absurd sometimes. Like, my whole goal in life is to be included in the able-bodied world. No, that is not my highest goal in life. My highest goal in life actually is I think is to spend time with my son, with my dog, to be out in nature, and to probably not be with people even that much, and I've always been that way. So just to assume that that's what everybody wants is an issue that needs to be rethought. People should be given choices, maybe some guidance if they have maybe a cognitive difference. They need to know what are the resources in the community, what are their choices, and they need to know who can help them research. But how much do they want these people, these services, intervening in their personal, private spaces, whether it's emotional or physical. And that really needs to be taken into consideration. And people need to have a voice in that in order to grow into themselves.